Thank you, Deputy Speaker. And it's a great privilege for me to be able to report on the meeting that I had on the 15th of June with my wonderful local advocates who are fighting the great battle in the cause of juvenile diabetes research from the JDRF. Wonderful local people like Mel Jovanovic and her son Lawrence, who's been quite public out there as a 4-year-old young boy who's really leading the charge on fundraising in this cause, and also Rihanna Poole and her beautiful daughter Cassie. I've almost felt like a godfather to Cassie watching her grow up and fighting this battle with her own struggles with diabetes type 1. There's still a lot of work to do in terms of making sure the community understands there's a big difference between type 1 and type 2 diabetes. This is not a lifestyle issue, this is a genetic issue, and we really have a lot of work to do to continue our battles in this area. And in Eden-Monaro, we have 9.9% of our NDSS, that is the National Diabetes Services Scheme registrants, suffer as a higher rate than the national rate. And overall, of course, we have 122,300 Australians who are fighting this type 1 diabetes battle every day. We have made progress in that life expectancy was limited to people dying in their 40s. Now we're pushing that out into the 60s with the effort that has gone on. And it's been a great bipartisan effort right across the board, going back to when we were in government, getting the clinical trial network funded and changes to the eligibility for federal government's carers allowance. And then, of course, the funding for the insulin pumps and the subsidies from 2008, carrying forward to the current government support for the clinical research networks. And we are only, in the early stages of a lot of this battle, and it is important that when this clinical research network funding does expire in June 2019 next year, that we do move into phase 3 of that project. Already we've seen great benefits from it, and 1,500 people with type 1 diabetes are accessing new therapies and enhanced care. 1,400 families are engaged in this world-leading project on prevention, and we're getting benchmarking of clinical outcomes for over 10,000 patients out of phases 1 and 2 of this clinical research network. So it is important that we move on to the third stage of this network. It probably will require about $50 million of funding, but it is kicking goals, and it is a terrible disease which has really crimped the lifestyle of not only the kids who are affected by this, but the families who struggle through it. We have seen, not only in relation to the technology around the insulin pumps for the kids, but now the development of apps that allow teachers and other carers to remotely monitor the levels of these kids and be able to have a bit of liberation in the way the kids are able to go to school and be looked after by other people. So I thank these advocates, and we need to push to the next stage.